Symmetry. Reflection symmetry, or sometimes it's called a line symmetry, or it is called a mirror symmetry. For example, the dog. A picture of a dog is her body is perfectly symmetrical. Each side of the line is perfectly the same. As you can see, the dog have a line in the center, and it is called a line symmetry, the black line down the center. So the black line of the center is a line that divides the half body of the dog. And as you can see, both sides of picture of the dog is exactly the same. So a line symmetry is a line that cuts a shape exactly into half and have an identical on both sides when it is divided by a line. It's also important to note that some shapes can have multiple lines of symmetry, for example a square. So in a square you can actually draw a 4 lines of square that divides it. Symmetry is found in every piece of nature. Like this picture is a foreground lake. The reflection of this lake also has symmetry. But in this case, the line of the symmetry runs left to the right. So the line of symmetry can be in any direction, not just up, down, or from left to right, but it can be in any direction in any shapes. The next is called a rotational symmetry. So rotational symmetry is when an object rotated in a particular direction around point. Then it is called a rotational symmetry. For example of rotational symmetry is this picture. This picture is called a paper windmill. So a paper windmill can be rotated in 4 times since it has 4 equal sides without changing its appearance. How many times it appears called the order of symmetry. So a rotational symmetry is it's when a shape or pattern looks the same after being rotated less than 1 full turn. So the number of turns it takes for form to look the same is how we measure rotational symmetry, or how we count the number of turns. You can find many objects in real life that have a rotational symmetry like wheels, windmills, or road signs, and so on. Point symmetry is when every part has a matching part. It is also the same distance from the central point but in the opposite direction. So this is the example of a point symmetry. As you can see, it looks the same upside down. So when we viewed from different angles, it appears the same, or it looks exactly the same. Because the origin is the central point around which the shape is symmetric. Point symmetry is also known as a rotational symmetry. When a figure or graph rotated around and it still looks identical to the original. That's why it is also the same as a rotational symmetry.